Are you here for hot takes on Survivor episode 11 of season 49? Well, you're not going to find them here because we recorded last night and it did not work for reasons which, who knows? Who's to say?
I might put the reason why right before this in the final edit.
So they may not be hot takes, but they're our takes, okay?
Yeah.
And we're always a little bit behind because we're doing it in Australia and we're not seeing it quite as live. But, that's not why you're here.
What I don't understand is
here
how doesn't it work out, Michael? Because technically we're in the future from America, right? So, how are we not seeing this before them?
Yeah. But we at least had the benefit on those Australian seasons where we were seeing it before the Americans, so...
Yep.
This one might be a bit quicker. Maybe we won't go through it in quite as much detail as we did last night. But there was still a bit to this episode.
Yep.
Still a bit to enjoy, even if the result with Sophie going home was a little bit predictable towards the end of the episode.
Yes, and I'm going to feel like I'm really retreading ground we've already covered because we've already said it.
The hard bit would be not just continually saying that.
Yeah, but I think that this whole season has been like that, where they've established something that would be the easy play, the safe play, but then they talk in the episode, oh, but what if we did this, or what if we did this, but they don't. That is basically the description of this entire season, pretty much.
Yeah, there has been a fair bit of that. We get a few, more than one occasion where Soph is thinking about the idea of going against her other two in Rizzo and Savannah. And she kind of talks about how they're closer to each other than her, like that she's sort of clearly the number three in that arrangement. But... we've been burned from earlier in the season, and honestly, even though you haven't seen it, there's been a few occasions in recent seasons where people have sort of said that kind of thing and it hasn't really eventuated. Hopefully this one is different. Hopefully Soph does do something with it, but it didn't end up happening in this episode.
Yeah, and I can't actually remember if I did mention it before, but I just made another reference to it.
Try not to do it. Nobody cares.
It's funny for us, but not funny for anyone. Actually, it's not really funny for us either. But so I know I'm jumping ahead, but the moment when Soph decides to sit down with Sage, which actually I think was pretty early in the episode, if I remember correctly, and she tells her, "Look, I'm prepared to go against Savannah so that we can get her out," and telling Sage, I don't want to go to the final whatever with her. And Sage basically says, I don't trust you.
Yeah, and yet the way I read what Soph was saying, I kind of believed her, the way she was saying it.
I did too.
It doesn't mean she'll do it, but I
actually think that even though she didn't do it this episode, I think that this could be her laying the groundwork for, okay, I'm ready to do it. Let's do it. And maybe next episode or this episode after. I think there's a possibility that she could turn Sage over to working with her. I think there's a chance. I think Soph is a really good... She's not a great communicator, but she is a good communicator. And she's definitely empathic, so she's very good at getting people onto her side. So anyway, that's what I think.
You know who's not good at getting people onto this side? Sophie, who tries to rationalise her way through her vote the previous night. And Sage and Katrina are not really there for it.
It's kind of like, why are these crying people not understanding my complete logic here?
No, that's unfair. Exactly. She's not a robot at all. But she did try to rationalise it. Yeah, and in a purely gameplay way, she's kind of right, but it doesn't mean they need to believe her. It doesn't mean that they've got any reason to think she'll necessarily work with them in the future.
So and at the beginning of the next day, God, well, we should probably cover that. Yeah, she tried. So she first talked to Stephen and Christina, and they're like, "Oh yeah, everything's fine, no hard feelings." Christina's totally like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm going." And oh yeah, so because I think Sophie says to them, "Yeah, I really think we should go after." Who did she say? Savannah? No. Sorry, I'm thinking ahead. No, she didn't say anything. So, yeah, Stephen was saying, "Oh no hard feelings." Then Sophie tries to go talk to Sage, and she is very upset, extremely upset.
Yeah, and she brings up kind of the smile on her face as Joanne got voted out, and she felt that deeply.
Yes, and she returned that
She's
smile.
got a new person on her hit list.
Yeah, she's got that list was getting rather short, so it's good somebody did this. It featured Savannah's name far too often.
Well, to not be at the top of that list. Yeah.
Yeah. But the next morning, I think that was when there was the moment where Rizzo was talking about Sophie being with them now, which does not last for long. And they're all deciding, so it starts from Rizzo, but they're all deciding, we should go after Stephen this time. And and this was one of my... I get that he's likable, and I get that he's not bad at challenges. I wouldn't say he's excellent at challenges, but he's not bad at them. He's good.
I think that's fair.
But I just don't understand why Rizzo has such a bugbear about Stephen, because no one else was thinking Stephen until he said Stephen.
Sophie's had it out for him.
Oh, okay.
She keeps mentioning him as well.
Yeah,
I mean, Sophie's very focused on other challenge threats as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And even though, I do agree that he's probably, a tier below what Sophie and possibly even Savannah has been till now. At the end of the episode, they've won 2 individual ones each. So, scoreboard.
Yeah. And then we hear a boat. Was there anything else before we heard the boat? I can't actually remember.
Don't think so.
Yeah, so we hear a boat, and it looks like there's a journey-like sort of thing happening. The letter says there's a strenuous activity. And they're all like, "Oh, well, I don't want to do that. I'm like so friggin' hungry, and I need my energy." And Stephen, knowing full well that he's in the crosshairs, is like, "I need to do this." And
history tells you that this is, could be an advantage, could be an idol, but also could be a lose your vote. So it's a real gamble. It's for people who either feel like they're on the bottom, or people who want to make sure the person on the bottom doesn't get
the chance,
a way out to upset the tables.
Yeah, and everybody doesn't want him to go because they want to vote him off, but they're also like, "Nah, I don't want to go myself." So it's just like, well.
And I didn't say this last night, and Joanne's not there to rig the rocks in the bag.
Right. Little cheating bastard.
So no one else really wants to go, and in hindsight, I'm sure Sophie probably thought, "Man, I had just as much chance of getting it as he did." She had just flipped. Not that long ago from one kind of group to another. Maybe, in hindsight, she probably should have tried to go to make sure that Stephen didn't.
Yep. Yeah, and we see clips of most of them saying, "Oh, I'm not too sure about letting Stephen go. This could be really bad because if he gets an advantage, it's just like, well, you could have gone, but you didn't. So tough." But gee, that challenge, that whatever we're calling it, that was strenuous. Here, run around this island across rocks that you're going to slip over and climb, and it's just like, oh my God.
He slipped over early, we saw that.
Yeah, he's going to get a bruise. I swear he'll get a gigantic bruise on his ass for that.
He just had to kind of remember the lock combination as he went around, but they said, at the start of it, that's not the hard bit. The hard bit is basically getting around it in time. It's going to be quite tough.
Because if the tide comes in enough...
Since our failed recording, yesterday I was listening to the On Fire podcast, and Jeff was talking about, well, they kind of raised the fact about, making sure that they timed it with the tide, obviously, to when the buoy, or buoy, as they would say on Survivor.
So do you think there were potentially more numbers and they removed them so that...
No. I think they might have just changed where they were, so maybe you didn't have to go out as wide or whatever if it turned out. Because he talked about getting a lot of people to run the challenge to try to get the timing right, and obviously when they start it, based on when they think the tide will rise. But the bit I hadn't thought about that he mentioned was they had to... It wasn't enough to just test it a bunch of times, because depending on when you tested it and where the tide was at the point you tested it, the traversal of the rocks around the island was actually varied like quite a lot. In some places, if the tide was too high, it was sort of, you were almost unable to go around because it was cliff or whatever. In other places, if the tide was too low, it became too easy.
Yes.
To like run around the set. Yeah. So he was. Yeah, I just hadn't thought about that. It's quite interesting that they had to think that far ahead with their testing to try to get it right. And he didn't outright say it, but he intimated that, that the dream team people that they get to run it, to test it, had thought that it was a very difficult challenge.
Okay.
But in the end, he seemed to do it kind of with time to spare.
Yeah. And but he was pretty knackered right at the end.
Good on him.
So what he got out of that, he kept his vote, which was very good. But he also got an advantage in the form of being able to negate someone's vote, which he is supposed to do before Tribal Council. He has to choose someone, and their vote won't count.
And it is definitely, I have heard since, he definitely has to do it before he leaves. That was kind of a twist that they put on it. That he sort of couldn't get the reading of Tribal before he put it in. And also, if something came up at Tribal later, he wouldn't have the opportunity to change it. They were probably thinking, that this could lead to like some good drama at Tribal, depending on how it went. It didn't really work. He hasn't played it, so we don't know yet. But
yeah, so
but an interesting quirk of it, they were saying on one of the podcasts today that that the knowledge is power isn't just for an idol, that it can be to steal an advantage. But in this instance, it doesn't really make sense if he's played it during that Tribal, because at that point he would have already played it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he goes back, and basically when he's coming, he's trying to decide, what am I going to tell them? And he just decides to go with, I'm just going to tell them that I got an advantage, but I'm not going to tell them what it is.
But Rizzo reckons he knows what it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rizzo's all... Oh, yeah. And there's that moment when we're talking to Stephen, and he says, I saw Rizzo change from the, are you okay guy to, tick, 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 and the cogs are turning when I told him I've got an advantage. So Rizzo's
I think Rizzo's... He's kind of trying to do the math on... They talk about almost being like a hierarchy of advantages of ones that are better than others, and I think he's just trying to do the math on about how strong should this advantage be, and he reckons that it's a steal of 8, which kind of ranks higher than a block.
It definitely does, but it's along those lines, so he's not completely off mark.
But he thought he was pretty right.
Yeah, he was.
And Steve is,
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. He's just going along with it. Yeah, whatever you say, buddy. So the funny thing is, because he probably, now that he thinks it's that kind of advantage, he's going to expect Stephen to play it during Tribal Council, which is not going to happen. So that's going to be interesting.
Stephen's kind of done the math and worked out that it probably doesn't make a great deal of difference if he plays it this week. Because just with the fact that there are odd numbers, it doesn't really get them over the line. It only gets them to a tie, and then it's going to be a fair bit stronger next week if he can hang on to it and survive, which he does.
Yeah, he did. So then I can't remember if there was much that happened after that. They go off to their challenge then.
Well, I guess just before that, I mean, the fact that Rizzo thinks it is a steal, like Stephen could really press. You know, he could come back to him later and go, yeah, yeah, it is a steal, and look, I'm going to steal whoever's vote. You know, and that could affect the math in someone's head about whether or not they need to flip with him. You know, it almost doesn't matter a heck of a lot that it's not as strong as Rizzo thinks it is. You know, if they think it's that strong, that's almost as good. If it gets them to change their decision making.
It would really just be a once-off that he could do it, because it's not going to convince anybody after that, obviously. But
there's not many left.
Yeah,
they're down to 6. You haven't sort of seen it yet. A bit different than the Australian one, but at 4 they do a fire making challenge.
Okay.
Instead of having a tribal at 4, because there's sort of pros and cons of it, but yeah, in the American one, they do this fire making challenge at the moment where at 4 someone wins, they get to choose who they take with them to final tribal, and the 2 people that are left go to fire against each other, and whoever wins fire is the 3rd person into final tribal. They sort of did it just because there were too many tribal councils with 4 people left in them, where there's just not a lot of room to move, and I think they felt that they weren't very interesting.
Okay.
Tribals.
Well,
yeah,
that'd be interesting.
But what it means is there's basically only 2 tribals to go before the final one. There's 6 and then 5.
Yeah, so this next one is definitely the one that he should do his thing in.
Yep.
So they go off to the challenge, and this is like a balance control challenge. They have to stack a whole bunch of cubes that spell out immunity, and hopefully spell it correctly, on top of each other, one at a time.
With 8 blocks, not 7, Stephen, but good guess.
He did say 7, that's true.
And he knew he might not get it right. It was funny.
And there was that funny moment where Jeff was just like, "Oh, do you want to do it?" to Soph, and she's like, "No." And
he's just having fun out there.
Yeah, and Stephen's just like, "Oh, I'll do it," and he does it, and he gets pretty close. So all the while when they're going back to retrieve each block of the word, the word that they've already stacked will rotate, and the higher it gets, obviously, the greater the risk that it'll fall. I predicted straight off that Stephen would be really good at this, and sure enough, he was very good at it.
Right. I thought his towel was going to topple over, but it didn't.
It really, right at the end there when he was like getting back up on the platform, I'm like, oh, it's going to go. But no, it stayed. And he
was pretty straightforward in the end. We only kind of saw one of them topple over. Jeff on the On Fire podcast talked about how, they've done a bunch of these challenges before, and sometimes someone will go out hard and, kind of set the pace for other people. And sometimes they'll just go really slow, everybody. But, it was fairly methodical here.
Yeah.
And the little things that they had to step over on the way that were providing some impediment for them didn't affect them too much. But the sort of soapbox they had to hop on at the end was a bit more difficult.
Yes. So did you say something about the fact? What challenge were you talking about earlier, where you were saying that Jeff was a bit disappointed in that challenge? Was it this one?
I can't remember whether I was, but yeah, I mean, he did say that this one didn't. Sometimes changes work, and sometimes they don't. I mean, I think I've seen this one on Australia once before, definitely, possibly on a US one as well, but where they've done a similar thing, but with a balance beam. Okay. So there's just some sort of balance element so that it's not, because all they really had to do was keep attention on the line. They didn't sort of going side to side or anything didn't really seem to matter. They just had to sort of do it at a fairly even pace. I say just, like it was easy. I'm sure it wasn't easy, but
do you think it would have been a more interesting one if they had to move left and right, like the path wasn't just a straight path backwards?
Yeah. You know what he did say on the On Fire podcast? He said, this one is slightly different than before. They put in some different elements, and he said, what he would almost like to do, because he loves fan interaction stuff. He says what he'd almost like to do is that for them to put into an app like all the different elements they've had in all the challenges they've had, just so that fans could kind of almost like make their own challenge, like or, like kind of propose variations on the challenges that they've done before, so that they can kind of pick one out and maybe someone will come up with something that they've never come up with before.
I just had an even better idea. So like if they had to go, if it did go left and right, but it also moved backwards and forwards, so they while they were going back, they had to come back forward and then go back again. There, I think that would have been an interesting one. I didn't think.
What if there's a bit as they go left to right where just briefly there's a barrier so that they lose visual on it just for a short period?
Oh, well, that'd be great. Yeah, so they can't actually see it. Or there's a part where
that doesn't work because it could be above and the rope could be underneath.
Yeah. Or there's even better. See, I'm just thinking of like contraptions now. that there's like a rotating series of boards that block their view as they move, and it moves as they move. So it's not always predictable where they won't be able to see. See,
I mean, in theory, the visual shouldn't matter a heck of a lot, but I think it would screw with them.
Yeah. And another one. So I'm coming up with all these ideas now, Michael. And another one is that because there's their little raised parts that they had to step over. But what if there were just sections where they weren't allowed to step? Like large, where they had to take a large step to get past this.
Oh, yeah. Because the little step over the little hurdle, it didn't really do anything. It needed something a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
you can't make it too hard, otherwise they're there all day. But
but they were barely there this time.
It was a little bit easy this time. But anyway,
Jeff, I hope you're listening.
He said, this one didn't quite work out, but we try things and.
Yeah, and it's also a matter of sometimes the different people doing the challenge. It's just easier sometimes. But yeah, anyway, so Stephen comes out on top. He was ahead, not by a massive amount, but he was ahead by a fair bit.
No, was it Sage was next, I think?
It was either Sage or Savannah. I can't actually remember.
Yeah, with the sort of lavender blocks, yeah.
So he gets immunity, which is just like, it's all everything's coming up Stephen today.
Yeah, he's had a massive episode.
And I thought that the speech that he gave was really good. I thought, okay, that's a good speech. It's not like gloating or anything. It's just like, I know I know I'm a target, so I'm glad that I got this because
I'd like to take this opportunity to give you a few space facts.
And then, so part of this challenge is also that they're going to get to have some pasta and whatever, all that Italian stuff.
Tiramisu.
Yep. And he gets to choose two people. So wisely, he chooses Christina. He's got a good relationship with Christina. And he also chooses her because she played blew her idol on him the previous episode. And yet, don't look at me like that, Michael.
That's the same phrasing you used last time.
Sorry. And then he chooses Rizzo, which is an interesting choice. I'm not sure why.
Who do you think he should have chosen?
Sage. I don't think there was any benefit to going with Rizzo.
Yeah, he seemed to just be doing it from like just because he hadn't eaten, just because he's being a nice guy. But yeah, they haven't got that long to go. Like, did it really matter? Maybe
he'll vote for me at final council or something, or final jury. Yeah.
I mean, probably the most important thing is that he wasn't fueling up with food his two other major threats in Sophie and Savannah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little bit weird doing Rizzo.
Yeah, because I was just thinking to myself, aside from the sympathetic, he's not eating thing, which, I mean, I wouldn't have cared if it was me. But anyway, aside from that, I'm just trying to think there's no benefit to taking him.
There's very little strategic benefit. Yeah, there's many seasons. Like in the majority of seasons, there's at least part of the choosing is because, hey, I want to convince someone of something, or I don't want to leave these three people alone together to plot.
Oh, you know what? Actually, that's a good point. That is one valid reason. Making it so that triad can't be sitting there plotting while they're off eating
with one other person.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that maybe that was very smart. Maybe I'm underestimating.
I'm not convinced that was why he did it though.
Rizzo was pretty happy. So it's almost as if he was actually hungry. I don't get it. So they go off, and we see them eating their pasta and stuff. And Rizzo just starts the conversation about we should totally take Sophie out. And everybody's like, yeah. So Katrina, am I saying that right? Is that right?
Christina,
sorry. The name's right in front of me, by the way. Christina and Stephen are like, yeah, okay, let's do that. And Christina's then doing a one to the camera and being like, no, I want to do Savannah. We don't get along.
Which we hear more about later.
Back at camp, we have the adventure of the chickens. Oh, actually, no, that happened earlier.
No.
I got it out of order.
That was while Stephen was out and about.
Yeah, so they I'm not sure. It wasn't clear to me while Stephen was off doing his island run that the whole plan was to actually eat one of the chickens. But before they could do that, they had to capture one of the chickens.
It was definitely a plan to eat it. It was just whether or not they were going to do it before he got back. But I think it would be pretty tough if it was gone by the time he got back.
Yeah. They do not do well capturing these chickens. No, sorry, no. And there's one point
they didn't have Alex and Stephen there to do it for him.
There was one point where one of the chickens somehow got into a tree, and Savannah nudges it with a stick to try and get it out, and it flies at Rizzo, and he screams he has a high pitched scream. He doesn't scream like a woman because men scream like women. Men scream with high pitches as well.
As Rizzo demonstrated.
Yeah. So anyways, I forgot that part. So back at the camp, they're all so we've got Sage, Sophie, Soph, and Savannah. Oh my God, all the S's. Except Stephen. Stephen's not there.
And Shannon.
Don't you do it. I can't remember. I think Sophie was like, "Oh, we should totally do this. We should like do this." I think she was like trying to come up with a plan, but then the rest of them were like, "No, we're totally going with Sophie, right?" Was that what was happening?
I mean, whether they were going to do it or not anyway, Rizzo and Stephen had that conversation and kind of got on the same page that they both wanted to go Sophie. And even though it wasn't, we thought it was going to happen, but it wasn't 100%. But both groups had already decided on Sophie. The sort of Sage, Stephen, Christina group had just been burned by her. They wanted revenge.
Yep.
Well, I guess Christina wanted Savannah more, but they all aligned. And maybe Sophie was like, well, actually, I would have done it here, but nobody really wants to do it now. We're kind of happy to take out Sophie.
Yep. And there wasn't
Certainly
really a lot.
Soph was under no heat.
Yeah, definitely. No, and it's actually she's doing very well at flying under the radar, I must say. She's using a lot of people as shields. She's really fortunate that there are so many other people that are making themselves massive targets.
Yeah.
Where she can just skate underneath, but who knows how long that will last.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure they come back and they're all together again, and there's all the discussions about. So we've got Sophie thinking, yeah, okay, we're going to go after Savannah. Nobody else is thinking that. But everybody's making Sophie think, yeah, sure, we're totally going to do that. And there's the moment where where Savannah steps away just, I think, to wash some clothes, and Sophie is talking to Sage, and Soph, and I'm just like, why is she telling Soph this? Because Soph has never gone against Savannah for anyone.
Wasn't it when Sophie walked away?
No, it was when Savannah walked away. Savannah walked away to just wash some clothes. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But it was just weird. It's just like, what are you doing? You think you're going to provide such a compelling argument that Soph is suddenly going to, you know what? Logically, that's correct. She's like the logic master. But no, there's no way. And like I said in the unrecorded episode, the only time that Soph is going to go against Savannah is when she drives it, when she decides that this is it. I'm going against Savannah now. Yeah, that's all. That's not going to happen before that.
Okay.
But off they go to Tribal Council. And this is a very interesting Tribal Council because both of us were like, yeah, we're pretty sure it's going to be Sophie. We don't think all of those fake outs that they put in the edit are going to make any difference, because that's the way it's been the entire season. There's a lot of talking, and Sage gives a good line, doesn't she, about revenge?
Yeah, Jeff asks her about revenge, and she even though all we've heard is her talk about revenge, she sort of says, you know, there are other things at play as well, and you know, you need to make, you know, strategic choices. But if it happens to align with a revenge, you know, want, then all the better. But yeah, she knows people think that she thinks that way, which is kind of good if you can use what someone thinks about you, you know, as cover.
Mm-hmm.
But she kind of continues that story, but also, you know, leaves it open. I really felt like if people had got their stuff together, that the fact that Sophie was targeted from both, you know, groups on both sides, that it could have been really good cover for a different move. Because the best time to make a move is when the vote
everybody
sort of
thinks,
seems obvious. Yeah. But there wasn't really appetite for that at the moment. And maybe that is because even though we, you know, saw Sophie not getting edit time early and didn't really think that she was going to do well, but at least partly based on that,
she's done pretty well.
Maybe in their eyes, she has done well. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
She has sort of ridden the middle. We hear them talk about how she's voted correctly the whole way through. I'm sort of taking their word for it. I haven't looked it up, but she's voted correctly ever since the merge. She's winning challenges. She's seemingly going pretty well. So maybe in their eyes, you know, she's as good a target as they can get. They don't seem to think that Rizzo is a high priority target, because we've seen him not play the idol like 2 or 3 times now, and there was almost less heat on this vote than any of the ones before him. He didn't seem to be under any real pressure.
Yeah,
to
he's
play
definitely
it,
not.
Based on what we saw.
He did try to do a little fake out that he was going to, but it's just like, come on, but everybody knows you're not going to. Come on, you don't have to.
It's almost to the point where I wonder whether he's carrying it too long.
It.
Like yeah, like if you've got the idol, of course you're going to try and hang on to it if you can. But it's almost to the point where he could be accused at the end of the game of, as has happened to some people in the past, you know, you didn't have to do anything that crazy, or you were never really that at risk because you had an idol the whole time. Like, you just used it as cover. Maybe your game wasn't that good. You know, we got here without an idol to kind of shield us. So it's sort of a two-edged sword, the idol.
And as we've discussed, he hasn't really done anything significant.
Well, certainly not anything that different than Savannah, if it comes to him and her at the end. The real thing for her is that she has put some people put some people off, as Christina kind of says when she talks about a love-hate relationship. And no, I don't hate you. I just really don't like you or something like that.
That's exactly what she said. I think it would have been better. I don't know if it's her who said it before, but someone mentioned that Savannah has a mean girl vibe, and that is probably
More
the
than
best
one
description.
person.
Yeah.
I think Sage put it out there. I don't know whether they picked it up off Sage, but I think Christina has said it before.
Yeah.
Well.
So, all right. So yeah, obviously, Sophie somehow is blindsided by this, which is just incredible to me. It's like, wow, you were so convinced. Everybody had you going. It's tough when
she took it pretty well.
She did. She was just like, wow, you got me, guys.
And I didn't say this last night, but like, kind of to her credit, she identified 2 or 3 weeks ago that the group she was with, they were not really with her, that she was on the bottom of it. She wasn't going to win where she was. Like, she was proactive about changing it up. She found some new people. She, has won a couple of challenges.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't working out for her the way she was going. So, she tried to do something and, it didn't pay off. But like in a different world, it probably could have paid off. Like they were all keen to get rid of Steven. Maybe if Steven hadn't, had immunity,
had
maybe
such a great day.
Maybe it wouldn't have been her.
There was one of the
it could have easily gone a different way.
So she was trying to ally herself with Savannah, Rizzo, and Soph, but I don't think that was ever going to work. Not only because those three had such a strong bond, but because that's 2 strong challenge contenders in one group, which never was going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she does get voted off, and so something I wanted to cover is, so now this coming week is the opportunity to get rid of Savannah, assuming she doesn't get immunity, which is going to be difficult because she is a good challenge player. It's gonna be real tough.
But she used her extra vote last week, and Christina used her idol. But we still have Soph with her knowledge is power, Rizzo with an idol, and Steven with a blocker vote. So lots of things could happen.
Okay, I've got a couple of scenarios in my head that have been playing through
while
we've been recording this episode. So
okay.
So there's the obvious one where Savannah doesn't somehow get immunity. I think she is going to get immunity, which is going to throw everybody's plans. So then they will be like, okay, let's target Rizzo. Rizzo will clearly know, oh no, they're going to target me now. So he will be, I'm going to play my idol. And that is Soph's chance to be like, no, you're not. I'm taking your idol. And if she doesn't, because they might put votes on her.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if it came down to that, yeah.
So I think that she is at risk this next episode. I think there's a good chance that she might go home.
Yep.
That's my theory. You don't have any thoughts on that?
No. I was thinking about what we were talking about last night about who a deserving kind of winner would be at this point. How we're sort of down to 6, and we were talking about how Christina probably doesn't deserve it. No. Sage could maybe find a way. Steven he's won a couple of challenges, but he hasn't really done anything strategic at all. Well, certainly not that we've seen. If it's happened, it's kind of been behind the scenes. They talk about working with him, but we haven't really seen it on camera or him do great things at Tribal. So probably
but a lot of people like him.
That's true. So to date, hasn't really done anything. Savannah, there is a way through, but people don't really like her. So it kind of seems like Rizzo's in quite a good spot, unless Soph does something crazy and convinces people. Savannah, even though people don't like her, she can speak really well. As long she just has to not
just stop having the crazy eyes.
Come off as too cocky. Because jury members really hate that. Like, if you need to be humble, and I'm not sure she's that good at being humble. Steven could find a way. Yeah. Other than, I don't know, there's part of me that thinks that Rizzo's sort of gonna falter it sort of at like 4 or 5. I don't know why, but he probably is right up there as one of the best, the most deserving to win. I feel like, Savannah's just pissed too many people off. Like, I think she's been too blunt. Sage has done some things, but she's kind of played a pretty vengeful sort of game. She definitely has tact, like in terms of, she feels things strongly, and to camera she says things quite strongly.
Yep.
But she can, as she said herself, she can lie to people. She can string them along. I mean, we saw that even as she was giving glances to camera about Shannon. So she can hold her tongue as well.
Imagine Shannon watching that whole section on air the first time and realizing.
Well, I saw an interview with her afterwards, talking about it and about how that did kind of hurt. And as much as we're, the way that partly it's the edit and partly it's just who you like, yourself as you're watching it. But if you did kind of side with Shannon in the watching of that, Sage herself kind of comes off as pretty mean, as part of it, and there's definitely a perspective where you could say, she was totally two-faced and mean, and didn't give her a hug at the end, and all the rest. Like, I think the edit makes it seem like she's kind of the one that we should be rooting for, Sage, but there's definitely two sides to that story.
Yeah. I'm sure the Shannon fan club is like, you bitch, Sage.
What we didn't really talk about is as Sophie gets voted off, is how happy Joanne is. He's absolutely pumped.
Yeah, and Sage is signaling, letting him know. And Sage has a big grin on her face as well.
Yeah, because she talks before the vote about how I can't even look at you, man. Like I'm just gonna break down. Like it really hurt her. Him going that they were really close.
Which was a surprise. I did say that I didn't actually realize that they were that close. So yeah.
And she makes it clear she wants revenge, and she got it. So, in that way, that kind of looks good to the jury, the fact that she got what she wanted. And Alex, he sort of looked like he had some tears in his eyes as well. Or I don't know if it was the glistening of the fire or what. But
he's just got those glassy eyes.
I think some people on the jury enjoyed that. I'm trying to think now who else on the jury might have got stung because of Sophie.
MC,
because they're all sitting there.
It's mainly MC.
That's a good question.
MC's the other one.
Sophie. Oh, yeah, she voted for Joanne. She voted for Alex. She voted for all of them. Yeah, that's right, because she's been on the right side of the vote every time. Yep. So they all got voted off by Sophie. So the fact that, who are they going to attribute that vote to? It's even though
I don't think
Sage
Joanne
was talking about it as being a revenge thing. It also was unanimous. So I'm not sure how much she can take credit for it. But sorry.
No, I was just going to say. So there's also the fact that so MC was sent off because of Sophie, because Sophie gave such a stirring speech right at the end there. Although I'm not sure it actually made that much difference, but it was a very convincing speech. I'm not sure that they weren't going to do it anyway. And also, I love MC. I think we've covered it.
MC fan club.
Yeah. I have to go pray at my MC shrine before I go to bed tonight.
Yeah. And she would have smashed that challenge that Stephen did as well.
Oh, totally, yeah.
I mean, the only reason she hadn't already run around the island once already was because Nate convinced her not to. The hourglass was about to run out. She totally would have done it.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was the end of the episode. I can't remember what the preview for next week was like. Did they even have one? I don't think they did.
No, they did. I can't remember either though. But we're basically down to 6. We've got 2 episodes to go.
Yep. So what do you think of my theory
things in play.
that Soph might be in trouble?
Yeah. Soph. 3-3. What did we say? Rizzo.
So this is if Savannah wins the challenge, which is a
Soph.
strong possibility.
They've still got 2 of the 3 though. You're right. It is a strong possibility. Yeah. Yeah, you could be right.
She would, if that happens, she would have to steal the idol off Rizzo. She'd have to. Otherwise, she's out. She's definitely out.
It might be good that she's put under pressure, because I think if she's not put under pressure, she may not do it.
Gee,
maybe it'd force her to make the good move.
Oh God, wouldn't that be delicious? Being forced to stab your own alliance member in the back, just for survival. Yeah.
But then if you're too forced to do it, maybe people can say, "Oh, you weren't going to do it. You know, it was only because maybe you don't get all the credit for it." Then I don't know. I think we shouldn't be setting our expectations too high, because I still feel like it's sort of a low probability of actually coming off.
Yeah, but like we said in previous episodes, not necessarily the unrecorded one. Soph has to do something big if she wants to win.
Yep.
Because she's not done anything big. She's managed to survive from the Blue Tribe, Kelly, but that's not enough.
But honestly, you could say the same for Christina or Steven. Like, what is Steven going to do? I mean, he's got an advantage as well. What is he going to do?
Well, so honestly, I don't think Christina or Steven have a chance.
No, still Christina's definitely not. Steven is an outside chance.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's had enough coverage or anything either.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Going to be very interesting. I'm really looking forward to what happens next week, because there is an opportunity for. So it all hinges on, will Savannah win that immunity idol? That's what it all hinges on.
Depends on the challenge. Could
totally
be anything.
If it's a puzzle one, yes, Savannah's stuffed. Although she won the puzzle one, didn't she?
No,
the last puzzle one.
Or
was it Sophie? I think it was.
That was last week, wasn't it?
It was Sophie, actually.
Yeah, where she smashed it.
Yeah, but Savannah was not far behind her.
No, she's been pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's all I've got. And I have determined that we are recording.
The red light is still on.
Yes.
It's like a small moment of panic there.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, until next week. This one was a little bit late. Sorry. But we will see you next week.
All right. Bye.